Anyway, the point is there's
What's the point?
a lot of breaking news today, so stay tuned because anything can happen at any moment. All right, now, for example, let's go back to Baltimore for a moment. In Baltimore, the city prosecutor has now received the report from the police on what happened, what they think happened to Freddie Gray. Now, the prosecutor says the police investigation will supplement her office's independent probe. And in this report, a prisoner in the same van, the Washington Post broke this story last night, a prisoner that was in the same van for a period of time said he thinks that Freddie Gray was trying to hurt himself because he heard a lot of moving or banging and moving around.
Yeah, you couldn't see him because there was some kind of metal barricade between the different arrestees, but he said that he heard weird, wild banging.
Yep. And then there's another source that says an officer involved in the arrest believes that Gray was injured while being arrested. And that actually goes to what we've been talking about here. Because Freddie Gray, when he was taken away, I mean, he looked, because there's cell phone video of it, he looked injured.
He did look injured.
His legs were not moving.
They weren't
and
right.
They were in what would even be an unnatural position.
Yeah, it didn't look right. And you had the bystanders, maybe one of them was shooting the video, I'm not sure, was saying, hey, his legs look broken, telling the officers that as they dragged him into the van.
Yes, right. And a few other things. There were three. Now, at the same press conference, there was a press conference today. Deputy Commissioner Kevin Davis revealed for the first time that there was a fourth stop made between the time that Gray was placed in the transport van and when he arrived at the police department's Western District building.
That's interesting.
We stated earlier, and we're just confirming again today, that the first stop of the wagon after the apprehension site was at Mount and Baker. The second stop has been revealed to us during the course of our investigation and was previously unknown to us. We discovered this new stop based on our thorough and comprehensive and ongoing review of all CCTV cameras and privately owned cameras. And in fact, this new stop was discovered from a privately owned camera.
That's interesting.
It's interesting when something's left out. I mean, if there's nothing wrong with the stop, why didn't any of the 5 or 6 police officers involved mention it?
That, by the way, tells you something very interesting. That they are looking at private cameras. They know the track of the vehicle at the time, and they're going back and they're looking at the public cameras, which, you know, sometimes you see, sometimes you don't. Mm-hmm. And then the private, whether it's business or individual cameras, to also confirm the movement. Because they may also have GPS tracking on these devices, on these cars. You know, they have that capability. And Mike Monaco, our legal analyst, is here. And
Hello,
this even happened to me once where police showed up at my door, and always disconcerting when it's police, because I immediately do what we've heard. I do what Michael Steele told us to do. I get on both knees and put my hands behind my head in my own doorway.
I'm unarmed.
I put up my hands. I go, don't shoot. And then I put on a T-shirt that says, I can't breathe. Hold on. I got to get my I can't breathe shirt. Hold on.
You're very experienced with being arrested.
Yes, I'm used to being arrested. So, and I actually also have sweatbands from the 1970s for my wrists, like Bjorn Borg used to wear, so that the handcuffs don't hurt quite as much. It's still padding for the handcuffs. Anyway, but I actually had the police come to my door a couple of years ago because I had in my house I had a camera, you know, on the front.
On the outside?
On the outside. And we know those ball things that looks like a camera. It's like a little eyeball sticking out of the side of the house.
Yeah.
And they wanted to see how much further back I recorded stuff.
Were you able to help them out?
I was not. I was not, because they needed it from a time frame that I didn't have. But they want to go down and take a look at it and everything. And then I thought, where is my hydroponic growing station in my house? So the first
Don't
thing I thought,
lead them past
yes,
that.
where do I go now? I don't know what it's.
But it shows you they're making a thorough investigation when they start looking for all of the available cameras in the area.
Right. I mean, it's an investigative tool that is relatively new in law enforcement. That, you know, I say relatively new, but it's, you know, within a decade that they can start looking at this. There's almost no square foot anywhere in a highly urbanized area that isn't that isn't on camera somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the point. Right. All right. Well, let's go to this. So we've got 3 different pieces of information that are immediately coming out about this. One, you got the guy in the van who says that he heard Freddie Gray thrashing around and what it sounded like him attempting to hurt himself. And then you have this other report that there's a source saying that there, and again, none of this is confirmed. This is all all one sourced in a newspaper article. That there is a source that says that one of the arresting officers thought that Freddie Gray was catastrophically injured in the arrest itself. Now, in terms of that, where does the investigation go from there, do you think, Mike?
That's a big, that if there's a policeman saying that, that's huge. Because now the prisoner, as a group in America, prisoners are the least credible people as a group because they're all in trouble. Prisoners, they're all looking to gain a benefit from the prosecutors, so they're always looking to say something. Now it's interesting. Even that fellow claims not to actually see Freddie Gray hurt himself, and if he's not, because I'm not sure when they put him in the police vehicle, I'm not sure he was shackled. If he's not shackled, he could be moving around without intentionally moving. He could be moving as a result of not being shackled and being bounced back and forth. But it's huge if there's a policeman claiming that Freddie Gray was injured at the scene before he was put on the vehicle. That's huge.
It doesn't seem to me. I mean, and we're efforting to get some sort of experts on with us this afternoon that can explain this, including Dr. Michael Bodden, the forensic pathologist who did the OJ case, also did the Drew Peterson exhumation of Kathleen Savio here. And it seems to me that unlikely that someone intentionally attempting to break their spine in a van, it would be very hard to do. And then also what is the intent there? You'd have toxicology. Your second look there would be toxicology reports to see if somebody's on some sort of a drug that makes them insane. I mean, the likelihood that somebody would want to paralyze themselves or to break their spine to set up
highly unlikely,
very unlikely, right?
Yeah, I agree, and that's I think the lawyer for the family said that today. That no matter what happened, he didn't hurt him. He didn't break his own spine.
Yeah. So
no matter what happened. So it's hard to believe that he broke his own spine. It's hard to believe that he injured himself so severely. But I mean, the police are going to really get into this because of all the publicity and the big the huge problem that it caused.
Mike, have you heard of prisoners getting injured in the back of being transported by police? Is this somewhat common?
You mean accidentally?
Accidentally, right.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, hold on one second. Let me just interrupt here because Geraldo Rivera is calling us on the Super Celebrity Hotline.
Oh, that's nice.
And Geraldo's been covering this. And, Geraldo, I think, heroically has been covering this. We played some of the tape yesterday of you taking on a guy who was trying to hog your camera. It's always something, Geraldo. It's always something out there, isn't it?
Always something, Ro. Always something. I'm telling you, you taught me wrong. I'm telling you.
I know. I did. And so now here's the thing. Now you're hearing these reports from the Washington Post. You're also an attorney, so I'd like your thoughts on this. Where do we go from here? Because there's a report that Freddie Gray may have tried to hurt himself, to hurt his spine. He was trying to injure himself while in the van. And then there's also a report that the police, one of the arresting officers, said that might have happened during the arrest. What's your thought?
Well, I think that it is extremely unlikely that this injury was self-inflicted. I'm a big police buff, but it just it doesn't pass the smell test to me, Ro. I'm surrounded by cops right now in my, that work with Fox and with me in terms of security. There's such a thing as a rough ride where they can put a really obnoxious prisoner or somebody they want to hurt in the back of that van and hit the brakes every 10 minutes or, swerve around, get rough as can be. But even there, the odds are that no one's going to get their spine snapped. I spoke to, or I got a note last night, and then spoke to an eminent surgeon from Johns Hopkins University Hospital, which, well, is based here in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, the surgeon told me, that what could have happened is because Freddie Gray was asthmatic and had all kinds of drug issues and other debilities, that he could have stress-induced spinal cord injury as a result of spasms of they stiffen, they go through the kind of a trauma, the body just freezes, seizures, that's it, seizures, these chronic traumatic seizures, which are involuntary muscular things. You stiffen your spine, and he could have hurt himself as a result of going into a seizure that was caused by stress, which could have been caused by a rough ride or something else, or maybe it was totally organic. But that second, I was at the police headquarters. I'm at the scene now of the rioting, but the police headquarters presser a couple of hours ago, I asked, there is the second unannounced, unpublicized, unauthorized stop that the prison ban made. So they made a second. Why did they stop that ban? You're supposed to, when you arrest someone, go from arrest to jail. Or if it's a person is hurt, from arrest to hospital. They went from arrest, a second unauthorized, unpublicized, unrecorded stop, only caught by the authorities because they put 30 detectives on the case, and they found it from a private surveillance camera that this van stopped in an unauthorized way. So that stinks. Why did they do that, Rob?
That is absolutely. I mean, why were they not saying what it was? I mean, it does not add up well for these arresting officers at the moment. But
when you put this second stop, this unauthorized stop, it's no wonder that these 6 cops have lawyered up and they're not cooperating.
Right.
These are people that are in trouble. At the very least, let's say they stopped at a Dunkin' Donuts, which I don't think it was. We have a cameraman now on the corner of where the surveillance camera picked them up. Why did they stop? Did they give him a rough ride, then check his condition, then say, "Oh my God, look, he's in this kind of shape or that kind of shape"? What happened? I think that will become apparent, and the surveillance tape already says it, and it's already been referred today to the state's attorney. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's already been done today.
All right, Geraldo, thank you very much. Great work, by the way.
Well,
and Fox News Channel.
Man.
Thank you, man. All right, there goes Geraldo Rivera, Mike Monaco. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, and we've got more of your thoughts on this coming up right after Esmeralda Leon with the WGN Traffic Trouble Spots.
Right now for the NFL draft, we have some